Welcome. I'm so tired of people walking all over me. I never have time for myself. I don't think anyone appreciates anything I do. If only they could see all I do for them. Do you hear yourself say these very words? If so, I'm just going to have to lay it out on the line and say, you have a people-pleasing problem. I know that sounds a little harsh, but as long as you walk in denial about what is going on with you, you will continue to get what you have always gotten. In order for things to be different, you have to do different. So here it is, my friend. You struggle with people pleasing. Hopefully, your immediate question is, what do I do about it? The answer to that question is what this video is all about. This video is part one of a two-part series where you will learn what the most effective tools are that you can use to break free from people pleasing. Why? So you can feel good about yourself and your life. As always, before we get started, I have a trivia question for you so that you can guess what you think the answer is and post it in the comment. At the end of the video, I will give you the answer so you can compare it to your own and see how you did. Here we go. Trivia question for this video is, which one of these three causes the most anxiety for the 100 people that was surveyed? A, express attraction or interest in someone for the first time. B, stand up for oneself. Or C, public speaking or being center of attention. Again, which one causes the most anxiety for the 100 people that were surveyed? A, express attraction or interest in someone for the first time. B, stand up for oneself. C, public speaking or being center of attention. This is the fourth video in the People Pleasing series. If you have not seen the first three videos, click here or here and below to get access to the videos. Hi, I'm Mccloskey. I'm a personal development and wellness specialist. We create a pathway of tools and encouragement for women to thrive while alive. If you're new, or even if you're returning and you haven't done it yet, make sure that you click on the subscribe button below and click the bell so that you're notified every time a new video is available. It's great to have you here. Say hi in the comments and don't forget to include the answer to the trivia question. You have a choice. The absolutely number one thing that has to happen to break away from people pleasing is to realize that you have a choice. You get to choose whether you're going to people please or not. Choose to not be a people pleaser anymore, and your life can be full of joy and freedom. But if you choose to keep doing what you have been doing, I can guarantee you that you're going to continue to be a people pleaser. You have to get to a point where you say no more. No more people pleasing. That doesn't mean that you just decide, okay, I'm not going to people please, and then 20 minutes later you choose to carry out that action of people pleasing. You have to say, I am not going to people please anymore, and then you have to take action. What action? I have several action steps to be taken so that you can be successful. The number one thing that you have to do is recognize that you have a choice. The absolute number one thing is to break away from people pleasing is, after you recognize that that's what you're doing, is zone in on the fact that you have a choice. Notice I said a fact. You have a choice in whether you people please or not. That is a fact. Okay, number one was to make a choice. Number two is write down, who is it that you people please? Some people you may not have a problem people pleasing with, and then others you may have a tendency to do whatever they ask. Why? What fears do you have that causes you to cave? Or what hangups do you have that keeps you in the people pleasing cycle with this person? So write that person down. Sometimes we just need to visibly see who we are giving so much power to. We have to get to a place where we say enough. Enough of giving that person power that they don't really deserve to have, but you keep choosing to give it to them. Number 3, restrain from giving an answer. Why do you feel like you always have to give an answer right away? I get it. I used to, when somebody would ask me to do something, I would instantly, without even a pause, oh yeah, I can do that. Or sure, yeah, and then I'd walk away and I would go home to my husband and I would complain and say, when am I ever going to have time for that? I don't have time for that. What should have I done? I should have stopped and said, you know what? I would love to be able to do that, but I need to go home and talk to my husband about it, or I need to pray about it, or I need to think about it. This is a really good thing to make sure that you do so that you are not instantly giving an answer. So, and this is what I tell people that I work with. Look, when somebody asks you something, you have to already have this line set up in you so that you already know what you're going to say, because it is so easy just to instantly give an answer. Pause. When somebody asks you to do something, make it your thing that you're going to pause. Take a deep breath, and if you need to, hold your tongue so that you can pause. And then think about what is the answer that you're going to give every time. And that is, I need to think about that, or I need to pray about that. And you know, it is true, if you are married or if you have a family, you may need to go talk to them first, because I tell you what, a lot of the things that we get wrapped up in doing, it steals time away from our family and our husbands. And so they really should be a part of the decision making. You're a team. You should be making these decisions together. So always pause and always make it, and pick one of them. You don't have to have all 3, just pick one. You know what? I would love to do something like that, but I really need to think about it. Can I get back to you? If they say that they need to know right now, now this is where it's a little hard, because you feel that you want to help them and they need to know right now. If they need to know right now, then your answer should be no. I know that's a little hard, but it should be your stance that your answer is no, because you really need time to assess whether you have time to do this thing. You got to be careful. I mean, if you're stuck in the people pleasing cycle, you have to take steps back. And that's one of them, is just don't give an answer right away, and come back. Make sure you come back. Don't avoid them. You come back to them and you give them your answer. Now, here's the thing. We can be busy doing a lot of good things, right? There's a lot of people that we can help. There's a lot of ways that we can serve others. But we have to make sure that we're doing those things that, first of all, we were created to do. And second of all, those things that are actually really helpful, and that we're not doing it to boost our own ego and being the martyr and taking care of everything. So make sure that you pause and that you don't give an answer right away, or the answer that you give is, I need to think about that. Number 4 is evaluate your priorities. You really need to look at what are your priorities and what they're asking you. Does that fit in with your priorities? Because, like I said, you can be so busy doing good things, but the people you love, the people that are most important to you, they get pushed aside and they don't get your time because you're spending all your time over here. So you really have to evaluate, what are your priorities? Are you right now doing something that you feel maybe God has you doing, that if you do this over here, it's going to take way too much time and it's going to pull you away from what, like I said, what you're created to do. So list out, have a notebook and list out, what are your priorities? What is your first priority? What is your second priority? What is your third priority? And then whenever you give that person that answer of, hey, I need to think about it, you can come look at your notebook and look at what your priorities are. And you can even put a percentage of how much time is needed to be spent with these different items in your priority list. And if you're already at 75, 80, 100%, and you may be at 150, then you better say no to that person, because where are you going to fit it in? Now, there's some things that you can go be a part of later. And then there's some things that the time limit is going to be over and you're just not going to be able to be a part of it. And sometimes we just have to say no to things that even we want to be a part of, but maybe it's not time, because there is a season for everything. And when you have small children, sometimes you can't do the things that you would do if you didn't have children. And there will come a time when your children will be grown and you'll be able to do some of those things. So just make sure you know what your priorities are. Number 5 is gather all the details. Make sure you're asking questions. When someone comes to you and they say, hey, Pam, can you help me move my stuff from here over to the storage shed? Okay, well, I should be asking, well, what day is this? How much time do you think it will be? Where is your house and where is the storage shed? Because if you don't ask these questions, the storage shed could be 4 hours away from the home that we're moving things to. You're talking 4 hours plus the time to get everything in the truck to move, and then 4 hours back. See, what tends to happen is that somebody will ask us to do something and we'll be like, yes, we'll do it. And then we start getting the details afterwards, and I've done it. You get the details later and it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was going to involve all that. I don't think I can do that. So the best thing to do is make sure you get the who, what, where, when, and how before you give an answer. Another good reason why it's good to pause and say, I need to think about it, because you don't really stop and think about all the details that might be involved right at that moment when someone asks you to do something. Okay, number 6 is make sure that there's a time limit. Like, you can be asked, what I mean by that is you can be asked to do something and there's not a time limit, but you don't know it. And so you get trapped into doing this thing over and over and over and over again. So a good example of that might be, maybe you're asked to teach a class and you're thinking you're only going to do it for one night, and all of a sudden you find out that you're doing it for the next 6 months. Well, that is a big difference. That's a lot of preparation. It's taking up, if it's once a week, it's taking one night a week up for 6 months. So make sure that there is some kind of time limit stated. So if you are asked to do something like that, like teach or babysit or go help an elderly person, make sure that you know what the time limit is, or you may have to set your own time limit. Now that's hard because that means that just like in the other videos, I talked about confrontation and talked about conflict, it could create a conflict. But here's the thing. Don't you think it's going to create an even bigger conflict if you don't know what the time limit is, or what happens whenever you've been doing it for so long that you become resentful because here you are, you're still stuck doing this and you don't want to do it anymore? Don't you think that causes conflict? Absolutely. And number 7 is consider your motives. Why are you doing what you're about to do? Are you doing it because you really want to? Are you doing it because you really can? Or are you doing it because you're afraid to say no, or because you don't want that person to be mad at you, or because you want to be the martyr? We can have good intentions, but if our motive is truly one that you're afraid to say no, that's not a good motive. It just isn't. So the best thing to do is, again, in your notebook, write down, why are you going to do this thing? Is it even lining up with what you have done before? Because sometimes if you don't have everything you need to do it, and sometimes people don't provide everything you need to do something, then you can be stuck doing it and feeling like, why did I even say yes to this anyway? So what is your motive? And it would be really good for you to ask yourself, am I doing this just to please them? That's a good question to ask, because you really need to look at, are you doing it to please other people, or are you doing it because you really want to? So remember what I said in the beginning of this video. You have a choice. You get to choose whether you're going to have what you have always had, or if you're going to have something different. And that means that you have to do different. Now the answer to the trivia question. Which one of these 3 causes the most anxiety for 100 people surveyed? A, express attraction or interest in someone for the first time. B, stand up for oneself. Or C, public speaking or being center of attention. The answer is B, stand up for oneself. How did you do? Which one causes you the most anxiety? Let me know in the comments. And if you are tired of running yourself to exhaustion and want tools to help you break away from people pleasing, be sure to click over here or in the link below to get your copy of the Time for You 5 Simple Habits to Eliminate People Pleasing. Like this video if it was helpful to you, and pass it forward by sharing it. I guarantee you that there is someone you know that could benefit from it. This video on breaking away from people pleasing is part 1. Look for part 2 next week, as I post videos every Wednesday morning. If you missed the video before this one in the people pleasing series, click here. Be sure you join the Thrive While Alive membership group for helpful tools, encouragement, and support by clicking here. Keep moving forward to Thrive While Alive. I'll see you in the next video.